Yo, welcome back. This is a series where it's like a knowledge dump where I'm giving you the sauce on what's in my brain, all the experiences I've had. Had to open up the door here because it's getting kind of hot in the whip. But what I want to talk about in this video is going to be about two things, kind of. They mix into one, kind of, not really, but kind of, because it depends on where you're at. And that's between security and concierge. And basically, when it comes down to this, I've worked at a few places. I've worked at a few nightclubs, and I've worked at a couple of high-end like apartment complexes as like the front door person. And so when it comes down to the knowledge I'll give you, let's start off with security. If you're working at a nightclub, you need to have a certain appearance. And when I say that, you need to look like somebody who can protect me if someone in the club is doing something stupid. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be the buffest dude ever, but you do need to look strong. If you got hired as a security person and you don't look that strong, I don't know why they hired you. Most of the security people I see have a look, and this look, just, I can't really explain it. Just next time you go to a high-end restaurant or club or hotel, you'll usually see security there, and you can tell by the look. And for me, I'm a tall black dude, of course, so my look just is pretty easy to say that man is security. If you're a smaller dude, most of the smaller dudes I know were kind of ripped. There's only a couple of small like security dudes that knew, but they always were on ego trips. And those ego trips can be good sometimes when you're working it against people who are acting like dumbasses. But if you're doing that and you don't have the backup and it's just you, and you try to do that egotistical shit to a fucking group of motherfuckers that's bigger than you, you might get your ass beat. And I have seen that happen before too. So be careful on that, because you can get stomped out in front of everybody, and that shit would be so embarrassing, especially when you're working too. Could you imagine showing up to your shift and getting stomped out on your shift? So let's get back to kind of the main point here. So when it comes down to security, you need to have a look. I would say being in the gym gives you that look. Having a certain kind of face gives you that look. If I was working security and you walked into the building and I looked like this, you'd be like, what the fuck? But if you came up to the place and I looked like this, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe this man is legit. Maybe this man here is not gonna be on some bullshit. Maybe this man right here is top-notch security. So you gotta have that look. Now, when you are doing the job, I would say you do need to know a couple of things. It would be nice to know how to fight. If you don't know how to fight, you might get stomped out. You can be a big dude once again, and you're kind of using your looks to hope for the best. But I've seen big dudes get stomped on too, until we all get into that rally and then everyone's getting their ass beat at that point. But if you're a big dude and you get smoked by somebody because you don't know how to fight, it's kind of on you. You shouldn't have probably went in there by yourself. And I know sometimes it could be a little hard because you don't know what you're getting into until you get there. And depending on your nightclub, I've seen nightclubs where they have the walkie-talkies or whatever, and some of them don't, and they try to use cues and hand signs. If you see an altercation going on and you know you can't handle it by yourself, do not jump into it until you have other people there. Let them keep going about the mishap until other people get there. I know people are going to be like, oh dude, you're security, do something. And it's like, I am doing something. I'm getting more people to help de-escalate this issue right now because I can't handle this by myself. You don't need to explain that to them. Just say, I'm on it. I'm aware. I know what's going on. I got it. Hold on. Sit back. Get somewhere. Move. Get out of the way. Whatever it is that you need to tell these people. There's been a couple times too where I've had some, just people. I was almost gonna say who, but people, and you have to tell them, shut the fuck up, shut up. I'm handling this. Move out the way, you're not helping. You gotta do it sometimes. You have to do it sometimes. When you are in security, you try not to use your emotions, but you have to direct people. And so you're not using your emotions, you're using your voice. You're using authority over these people to tell them, move. That's kind of what security does. You're moving people. If they're in the wrong place, you're moving them. If they were in the right place, but now they're just in the wrong place because of their actions, you need to move them. And when it comes down to moving them now, let's say you have someone who's just a little bit too drunk, getting too turned, you gotta get them out. I'm gonna break it down two different ways because there's two different ways to get people out. There's ways to get women out and there's ways to get men out. I'm gonna start with the women. This kind of goes back to my first point. Hopefully you got that look. That look comes with physicality. There's been times where I literally would just have to lift a woman out of the club and everyone's sitting there talking about, well, that's a woman. She's a threat to everyone around. I don't care her gender. She's being a threat. If she just starts cutting people or if she starts throwing fists or she starts to harm people around her, I don't care. She needs to get moved. She needs to get out of the club. So if you don't like my ways of doing it, you should have helped get her down to the place where she's calm again. But if you didn't do that and now I have to handle it, I'm going to handle it my way. My way is to pick her up. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I've seen some people just sock the shit out of a bitch. Just knock her out cold. It's kind of the easiest way. If that's what it means doing sometimes, if that's the easiest way to de-escalate a situation, you might have to do it. It's kind of fucked up. Now, I have seen that towards a man, but I haven't seen it too many times towards a woman, but I have seen it though. Girl's going crazy. She's going out of line. She's trying to swing on people. She's doing whatever. She's not acting like a lady at this point. So at this point, you need to de-escalate the situation and move her. If that means punching the fuck out of her, do so. But try to have that as like the last resource. Try to pick her up if you can. Try to move her if you can. If she's getting physical and violent though, that's your job. You have to de-escalate this situation. If that means socking the shit out of somebody, you gotta sock the shit out of them. And no one should be complaining. Out of the couple times where I see women get socked, I go back into the club, girls are applauding me. Thank you for getting that threat out because we didn't want to deal with that. Thank you for handling that because we didn't want to deal with that. Trust me, it doesn't matter their gender. If they're acting like a piece of shit and they're harming people around them, you have every right to de-escalate that situation whatever way you can. Try to use your words first. Try to move them if you can. If not, get violent. I'm not trying to recommend doing that, but that's your job. Your security. You're supposed to secure the place, make people feel safe. And if some threat is coming up to you and you can't handle that, people aren't going to look at you like you're doing your job. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is getting men out. Sometimes we don't even need to talk. If I come to the place and you're still on that shit, nigga, I probably will just sock you. Because that's the easiest way to de-escalate it. You're a grown-ass man. What do I look like trying to push you out the club? You said you want the smoke? I'm going to come with some smoke. And here's the thing, too. I'm a big black dude. So if I punch you, it's not going to be a little light tap in the face. I'm literally going to go for some pressure points. Either I'm going straight for a jaw to fuck your shit up. I'm going for your liver because you're drunk, remember? You probably don't know this, but if you get hit right here, that shuts down your whole body. I go for this shot before I go over chin shot. I'll go over someone's body. Bow! Right in the fucking side. Takes them right out. I'm telling you, every single time. If you hit them in the right place. And you just need one punch too. You don't even need more than one. You hit them one time there, you're too drunk. They'll still keep trying to go, come on man, and then all of a sudden, give them like a few seconds, they'll ooh. It's a slow internal pain that just shuts down the whole body. And that's another thing too, is when you're getting men out of the club, you need to know pressure points. Now, one of my other friends in security, he actually knew pressure points where he can press into people. And so, like, if you were causing some shit, he would just press into your neck or whatever it is that he needed to in order to, like, shut you the fuck up for the quick moment, move you to the side and tell you what it is. And if you have a problem, all right, you're gone. If you know what it is now and you can go back and handle yourself, then we don't have no more issues for the rest of the night. But if you're handling shit and you're not the size of me, make sure you have other security guards there to help you. And if you don't, step back and get the police involved. Once again, your security. Your job there is to make people feel safe. If you can't do that by yourself, then that means your job is to find the next person who can. That is what you're supposed to do. And so, I don't know, there's been some times where we've like dragged men out the club. It's funny as shit. We'll beat the fuck out of them and literally drag them either by their legs or by their arms and just lay them out in the front of the club. It'd be the funniest shit. And the thing is that when you do that, it's kind of fun when you come back into the club because you just get like respect point. Like, you know how in GTA you get to the end and it's like mission successful and it's like, what'd you earn? Respect. That feeling right there feels so good. You don't know how many times too I've like done that, came back into the club and got me a couple of numbers. You already know. Ooh, sir, you made me feel safe and good. Here's my number. Ooh. I've had that. So there's some perks to doing that shit, but there's also a risk. There's been times where motherfuckers will come back to your job, try to have guns and shit, and try to do some stupid shit. You gotta be aware of that shit. Shit like that can happen. And so sometimes you might have to pack depending on what kind of job you have. If you work at the nightclub, yeah, you might have to pack. Talk to your manager, talk to the nightclub owner. I'm sure they usually let a couple people there pack, especially if you're licensed and you got your license or you got your concealed permit or whatever. Pack. You might need it. And then you might not need it in the club. It's when you leave the club and you're trying to go home. You might need it then. You never know. Now, like I said, this kind of doubled into security and concierge work. So when you're a concierge and you're working front desk at like a high-end, whatever it is, apartment, hotel, blah, blah, blah. This kind of goes into some of my other previous knowledge where it's like retail. Common stuff. Smile, be respectful, and just make people feel good about being in the presence of you. Like, just give the best respectable manners that you can to people. It's your job, of course. Once again, these jobs, they give training, but your job is to make people feel safe. Even as a concierge, your job is to make people feel safe. Make people feel safe that their purchase at that apartment, making the monthly payments or for rent, is a good, safe bet because you're there and you're aware of the property. You're doing your rounds around the property. You're aware of things that go on with the property. Somehow, you know little things that some other people don't know. That means you need to go into investigation mode. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes people will say, hey, are you aware that there's a party going on the 8th floor and they're kind of loud? Like, yeah, I already knew about that, and I told them if it gets to a certain point, there's a certain amount of plaints, we'll let them know so that they can turn it down. So if it does get to that point, let them know. But I've already told them by 11 o'clock that they need to start turning things down because that's when people are going to start going to sleep, or whatever time it is for you. You need to be aware of things like that. You need to know like things like that are going on. And how do you find that out? Do your rounds. Even if your job doesn't tell you to leave your front desk, you probably should at times, just to do quick little loops because you're securing the whole premise. And if your manager or boss get mad, just say you were literally checking in on something. You weren't aware of something and you wanted to make sure that it was good. Now, if you're working with other people, you might have to actually send them to go do it. Or if not, hey, can you cover the front desk while I go check this? For some of the jobs I've had, I just work there by myself. So I'm doing my rounds. I leave the sign at the front desk. Hey, concierge will be back. If you need something, you can call my personal phone number and I'll come back and I'll address whatever it is that you need. But I'm doing my rounds. And doing the rounds, you can find some fun things sometimes. Shoot, that party I was just talking about, shoot. The reason I knew about it, because I was in there cutting up like a motherfucker for a little bit. And then I came back down here. They served me a plate and everything. You see that plate up there? That came from them. So if you have a problem, let me know, because I ain't trying to have beef with anybody. They treated me good, and I told them I'll treat them well as well. And so, the other thing with the concierge job is just, I don't know, like, just be on your P's and Q's, just be on the ones and twos, just know what the hell's going on, and give respect, make people feel safe, check the premise. Oh, take care of the property, that's what it was. If you're going around, if you see trash and things like that, take care of the place. Don't wait for the maid or nothing, or wait for the cleaners, just clean that shit up. I'm telling you, man, that shit goes a far way. Hey, man, somebody just let their dog shit on the fucking elevator, man. Yeah, it's disgusting, man. You don't want to deal with it. You're getting paid. You have the job for a reason. You gotta just go and take care of it, man. Oh, no, man, I'm just gonna wait for the cleaners in the morning. Do you know how pissed off people would be knowing that there's dog shit in the elevator for the whole night? Come on, man. Or however long your shift is until the next person comes and addresses it. Just get it done, man. So take care of the property that you're on. That's kind of the main thing. Other than that, that's kind of all I have between security and concierge. So hopefully that does something for you in terms of knowledge. But peace out. See you on the next one.